one of the causes of constipation is the diets. That is actually the major cause of constipation. Now, which diets? Because when you just say diets, it's like me telling you, you need to lose weight. Just the same way we tell you in the consultation room, oh, hii kilo yako ni mingi sana. You work on this weight. And then I don't tell you how to work on the weight. So what am I doing? But I'm innocent because I also don't know how to lose the weight. That's why I'm fat. So when I'm telling you lose the weight, please, you just find a solution somewhere else. Okay? And that's the philosophy about it. When you're eating those wheat products, when you're taking those seed oils, these are the things that actually are inflammatory to the gut. So they cause a lot of inflammation to the gut, and now the gut is dysfunctional. They even destroy the nerves that actually line or innervate the rectum, the entire gut. Because remember, the gut, all the way from the stomach down to the rectum to the anus, is the only organ that has its own brain. That tells you you can actually chop off the head and the gut will still function. Because it has its own brain and the nervous system. It's actually called the enteric nervous system. It's a complete brain. And again, the gut has a direct relationship to the brain. So when you have a messed up gut, you're messing up your psychic, you're messing up your understanding and the brain in general. But look at it this way. So you mess up the gut by causing inflammation through the inflammatory foods that we mention here all the time. And wheat, and the one that you guys call, I don't know, atta or something, the brown one, very rich in that crazy thing that you think is fiber, and then goes there and just picks a lot of water along the way. It's like you swallowing a dry bread. Have you ever swallowed bread without, with very limited saliva? Do you see how it mops? That's how this thing mops the rectum. And now the feeling is so annoying, yet the feeling of defecation was supposed to be interesting, like relaxed and smooth, so that you actually train the gut positively. But now this feeling is so annoying that the gut is even in kama inashtuka. The nerves are now disturbed, but you're there, you have to push it out anyway. So yes, diets are very interesting in this because one, they fix, when you're eating healthy, your gut totally is fixed. And number two, they can actually destroy your gut instantly because you are what you eat. And one of the reasons why you get sick, actually the major reason why you get sick is because you're eating crappy food. So fix the foods. Drop the seed oils and drop the wheat products. They are crazy on your gut. And again, the weird part is we don't even know why we eat these foods because one, they don't have any nutritional value. And number two, they are messing up our gut. So they're actually causing us not to absorb other nutrients effectively. So why then are we so addicted to these products? And the food industry understood that. That's why they add in the sugars. That's why they add in the glucose and the monohydrates so that you can actually get addicted to it because it has no nutritional value. But when you get addicted to it, they make the money. It's a business. So foods that are high in fiber. However, if you're eating foods that are low in fiber, of course, chances of you getting constipation is there because you need a bulky stool so that you can activate peristalsis, the movement of the gut. You need the stool to be bulky so that you can move the bowel and stimulate the nerves on the bowel. However, excessive consumption of fiber. So you see, lack of fiber in diet is actually a cause of constipation. Can also cause diarrhea. However, excessive consumption of fiber, this is the sweet potatoes, the green bananas, the butternuts. You see those complex carbohydrates. And the one that is highly shocking is the vegetables. So as you constantly consume these fiber-rich diets and you do them in excess, those people who are trying to lose weight by eating the salads, all the time you're feeding on salads, those vegetarians who keep on eating on the salads or the vegetables and foods that are rich in fiber, you're going to cause yourself constipation. Why? Because gut microorganisms actually feed on fiber. And it's natural. They are there for a reason. They feed on the fiber because they are probiotics and the fiber is the prebiotic. So they feed on the fiber. And when they feed on the fiber, symbiotically, they give you the B vitamins. They help you digest more fiber and then they help you ease up on the stool. But as you constantly consume the fiber, and a lot of fiber for that matter, you actually end up overfeeding these gut microorganisms. When you overfeed them, now they are redundant. They are tired. It's just like you. When you eat that ugali at lunch hour, the next thing is you're dozing off. You thought I'll eat ugali for energy. And now, which energy are you using to sleep? In that office, you can't even concentrate. So how is that energy helping you? Because it's a wrong idea of nutrition. So you overfeed the gut microorganisms and they end up punishing you. They do not digest fiber. They will not give you the B vitamins, therefore vitamin deficiencies. And if they're not digesting the fiber, they are now clogging and blocking the intestines. And now you have this so bulky stool that cannot pass into your rectum. It has expanded enough, but nothing is happening. That is now another constipation episode. And now, as you accumulate this fiber and this bulky stool, so much bulky stool, it starts to reabsorb water from the intestines. And this is a normal mechanism because of the difference in the osmotic balance. So we now start absorbing water from the gut into the stool. And the body is actually doing that to make sure that it can actually try and soften this stool so that you can actually evacuate it. But as it is doing that, you end up getting this dehydration. And now even the flexibility of the rectum is altered. Now dehydration means you're passing out sodium. And as you're passing out sodium, remember, nerve function depends on sodium. And for you to pass stool, you must activate the nerves that supply the rectum. So if you're unable to activate the nerves that supply the rectum because now sodium is coming out and you're getting dehydrated, what do you expect? More constipation. And now more hemorrhoids. Problem after problem after problem after problem. Nutrition is easy to understand, but you only need the simplest things. You don't need complicated nutrition. You don't need to read deeper into nutrition. You need to understand the basics. You are changing lives, doctor. I am following from Canada. I work with people with disabilities. You don't know how much fiber we give them 365 days. So this is basically a year of them feeding on fiber. Zero nutritional value. Remember, human beings are not supposed to digest fiber. We are not designed to digest fiber. So when somebody tells you, oh, when you're constipating, it's because you're eating low fiber, and then they don't tell you not to overeat the fiber, they're actually messing you up, because you will consume the fiber, yes, you will get the benefit from the fiber, but that benefit will actually act against you because you will overfeed the gut microorganisms, and at that moment in time, they will now be redundant. They will not do their work. You will suffer. Believe me, fiber is not food for human beings. Fiber is food for microorganisms in the gut. Fermented foods, the fermented cabbages. Somebody will say, and I know how addictive it is, so you can actually pop it out and eat the whole of it with an avocado. However, what is the nutritional benefit? Yes, we've gotten vitamin C. Yes, we've gotten the microorganisms and the fiber to feed the microorganisms, but you've overfed on it. Once you do that, you've overfed the microorganisms. Now you're suffering. So the best thing you need to do is to regulate the amount of fiber that is actually going into your gut. So people who are suffering from constipation, people who are suffering from hemorrhoids, diverticulous, inflammatory bowel disease, mental health problems, feed on fiber, yes. Feed on fermented cabbage, yes, to fix the gut. However, do not overdo it. And you see the diabetic plate, they tell you a lot of fiber, a lot of vegetables, and then some few proteins, and then a feast of carbohydrates. They are forgetting that carbohydrates are that feast of carbohydrate, that is sugar. The vegetables have fiber, that can also be sugar, so that's also carbohydrate. And then now the fiber is going to mess up your gut totally. So minimize on it. And if you're constipating, reduce on the fiber, reduce on the sweet potatoes, reduce on the complex carbohydrates, reduce on vegetables. And then take yourself on a ride of about 24 hours of not eating so that the gut resets, so that you starve the microorganisms. And now they come back to reality and they help you digest the food. It's funny that the rich fiber foods can be seen in stool, but not a single protein can be seen. Proteins are completely digested in the system. Perfect. You will see fiber in stool, but people blame protein for no good reason. You see somebody telling you eat fiber, but do not reduce on protein. And then you're like, what is the relationship between protein and me having constipation? What is the relationship? And then now crickets. And now we start jumping into the jargons. So number one is fiber. Number one is diet, sorry. So wheat products and the inflammatory foods. High fiber diet, okay? And number three, dehydration. But this dehydration can be part of the diets and can also be part of just on its own. But we'll talk about it. Number two, lack of physical activity. Now I told you this. Physical activity includes also training the gut to have one bowel movement or a maximum of 2 bowel movements a day. And you can actually listen to the body. When you listen to the body, you will see it responding to you. So this is the reality. Nowadays we are living a sedentary life. We love sitting down for 8 hours in the office. We go back at home. We are sitting there, putting our legs up with a remote in our hands, or with TikTok on the phone, or all those things that we do. Sedentarism, no exercise, no nothing. But the gut needs blood flow. But the gut needs exercise. Remember, our entire gut is muscular. Those muscles need exercise. They need training. That's why you go to the gym to do the kegels. That's why you go to the gym to do the hip thrust, so that you can actually build the pelvic muscle, you can build the rectal muscles for defecation and to hold stool. Some of you cannot hold stool. Just comes and out. And of course, people from the umbrella are also victims here. So now that's why adult pampers are going to be a business in the next 5 years. Okay, so we are actually slowing down our digestion and our gastric movement, our stomach movements, and now this is causing us more constipation. And again, we are adding medication on that. Some of the drugs that we are using are actually messing up our gut, so we are unable to even digest food completely. And actually, that is number 3 cause of constipation: medicines and medication. Which medication are causing constipation? Now, I want to see if you guys can reason with us. I want to see if you guys can actually see the bigger picture. What group of drugs or which medicines do you think are responsible for constipation? Put it in the comment section. Which medication do you think are responsible for indigestion and therefore constipation? Which medication? As we do that, let's go to the dehydration part. PPIs and painkillers. Painkillers, amazing. Look at this. Hey, muscle relaxants, pain pills, laxatives, opioids. Listen, I think this live is for you guys. I have to sit back and just enjoy the lecture. So you guys understand the gospel already. This is what I want. That I want us to be in a place. Cholesterol lowering drugs, some cholesterol medication, yes. Analgesics, painkillers. Now listen, this is what we want. We want a generation of people who are so bright that they can challenge the healthcare system. Antidepressants. Hey. You are so right. All of you are so right. Why? Somebody saying Lasix. Yes, that is a loop diuretic that causes dehydration, therefore constipation. So medications like painkillers, like steroids, tranquilizers, yes, drugs like diazepam that actually cause you these drowsiness and all that, and they mess up the gut movement and motility. So let me take you through this. Iron supplements, thank you very much. Antibiotics, man, this is crazy. Now listen, this is what is happening on medication. Most medication, actually all medication have side effects. And those who have done a pharmacy course, they will tell you that when it comes to hard questions and somebody has asked you a side effect of a drug that you don't even know, the first 2 side effects that you put there that are obvious is diarrhea and constipation. You will get the mark. Pharmacy students, are you there? You know better. Diarrhea, constipation, vomiting. So if you're totally blank, and as the syllabus says, you'd rather set your own question and answer in that space. If you read a question and you cannot understand it and you don't know the answer, set your own question and answer in that space. Why? Because if you leave a blank space, people who are going to do the Pharmacy and Poisons Board examination, if you leave a blank space, you automatically get a fail. You will fail. That means you'll be held for another cycle, so no money for internship. So please, fill that space. Diarrhea, constipation, and vomiting. These are the obvious side effects for all medication. Okay? Yes, negative marking. You don't want the -1 or -1/2. Okay? You can start a paper with -0 or -20. So now you have to catch up. Anyway, so this is what is happening. Drugs like the NSAIDs, which are painkillers, drugs like steroids, like dexamethasone, prednisolone, even the diprofos. These are drugs that actually mess up your gut. And they destroy the gut to an extent that they lower or they slow down the motility of the gut. Therefore, you start getting constipation. But most importantly, the opioid analgesics, those potent painkillers like morphine, like pethidine, like tramadol, and most of you are actually becoming addicted to tramadol. Most doctors are addicted to pethidine. These are drugs. The codeine. You remember the story of the cough syrup? That one that people in campus, these campus students used to buy. I'm glad that it was put under the dangerous drugs. So it had codeine. So these guys used to put that cough syrup in sodas, in the blackcurrant sodas, and then serve it during parties. And when the ladies take these, they become sedated. Now sex is all over. And by the time you're waking up tomorrow, out of that drowsiness, you cannot remember what happened. You're asking this guy, did we have sex? And this guy is like, oh, I don't know. But the one who invited you for house parties. Drugs like diazepam, that when you put in alcohol, like also the mchele, the flunitrazepam, you put it in alcohol, it dissolves so fast, and then now sweeps off your memory. These are drugs that actually slow down motility. Not only that, they also slow down your respiration rate. So your breathing is now altered. So you can actually die from taking an overdose of these narcotics without even knowing. So how much do you know? How much have you taken in that soda? How much codeine have you sipped in that soda that night? And the reason why you actually pass out is because you have suppressed your respiratory centers, your breathing centers in the brain, and now you pass out because the body knows the amount of oxygen that you're now bringing in because your breathing has gone low. So the amount of oxygen that you're bringing in is limited. It cannot supply the entire system. So the body shuts down every system that requires a lot of oxygen. And when that happens, you sleep, including the gut. So now no digestion, no motility. And when you sleep, the smallest amount of oxygen that you're breathing in goes straight to the brain to just sustain you. So that means you can easily die from taking this medication. So why are we taking them and abusing them? So medications like opioids, tramadol, morphine, and pethidine, drugs like NSAIDs and steroids, drugs like antacids, and we've explained this before. So antacids and proton pump inhibitors, the omeprazoles, pantoprazoles, esomeprazoles, all those. And nowadays you see there's a kit for children or babies, a PPI for babies. We have the pantoprazole, which is dispersible. Have you seen it? Dispersible pantoprazole for children. So your children, from the word go, they are going to get mineral deficiencies. And that's why that supplement company is going to come in and is actually making and ripping out of your arrogance. So as you use these antacids neutralize the stomach pH. They neutralize that acid in the stomach. And when they neutralize that stomach acid, that becomes a problem because you can now digest, you're now unable to digest protein. When you're unable to digest protein, now constipation is coming in. You eat that meat, it stays in the gut for 8 hours as they lie to you, but they want to protect this medication. So it stays there, you don't digest it, it is pumped into small intestines and it goes. Overeating. You eat every time and frequent eating. Every after 2 hours you're eating. Your gut needs 6 to 8 hours to digest food adequately. But look at you eating every after 2 hours. Now you're pumping this undigested food into the small intestines and is now pushed into the large intestines and now pushed out without digesting, without absorbing anything, and therefore no nutrition from that food. So why are you eating 5 meals a day and still snacking in between? Do you have things that you've actually, umefuga nini kwa tumbo yenye inahitaji hiyo chakula? Do you have crows in your stomach? The crows, you know crows? The ones that when you slaughter a cow here, they are all over. Do you have them in your stomach that you need to feed them? Umefuga jini kwa tumbo lenye linakuitisha chakula kila wakati, so you must throw something there. That is insulin resistance. So eating all the time, you're actually pushing food that is undigested into the small intestines. And then it's pumped into the large intestines. And now gut microorganisms are now tired. Yes, kunguru. Yes, a good one. The kunguru. So you have kunguru in your stomach that is just waiting for that food to come in so that you can tap it. Ay, unakula every after 2 hours. Imagine you eat at home. Maybe around 6:37 there. You leave home. You are at work. By 9, you are yawning. You eat again. By 11:30, you are yawning. You eat again. By 3:30, you're yawning, you eat again. And then on the jam, you're yawning, you have to snack on something. You come back home, you have to cook again and eat. How many meals are those? How many meals are those? What time did they become digested? How do you expect the gut to digest all this food that you're pumping in? You need the gut to digest, to absorb, to clean up and then rest. When it's resting now, you can actually bring in new food. That happens after 6 to 8 hours. So why are you eating 4 meals a day, please? And then you're wondering why you have gastritis. You're wondering why you have constipation. You're wondering why you suffer all these conditions every time. Don't wonder. Simply change your kitchens, change your habits, replace them with healthy habits. Just 2 meals a day is enough. And most of us were not even born to eat in the morning. We wake up in the morning, we are full. But because we've developed habits of eating in the morning, because that's what we found our parents doing, we can't move without taking morning breakfast. And then you tell me, oh, you know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and I will eat it heavy as a king, so that during the day I use that energy. But look at the same person eating at 10 again. Who are you? You said morning breakfast is important. Okay, we said, okay, eat breakfast. You eat that breakfast, and at 10, you want also another meal. I mean, hey, yeah? Yes, the ones for, you know, breakfast in bed. You know, breakfast in bed. You're eating breakfast in bed, and at 10, you're yawning, you want more food. But you told me morning breakfast is going to serve you with energy throughout the day. What happened in between that now you have to eat at 10 again? Where is common sense? Next, of course, we've said diets, we've said dehydration, we've said lack of physical activity and sedentarism, we've said medication. And medication, I said opioids, steroids, antacids, iron supplements. Those iron supplements that you're taking, please. Eat meat, eat liver, eat egg yolks, you'll get what you need. Eat green leafy vegetables, there's not much enough iron in that. Eat omena. We also have antidepressants that actually slow down motility and digestion, and they cause you more depression anyway. We also have antibiotics that destroy gut microorganisms, therefore digestion becomes a problem. We also have calcium supplements for the elderly. Imagine the same elderly who are given calcium supplements are the same elderly who are prescribed with lactulose. So you give them calcium supplements for their bones and vitamin D supplements. But you denied them red meat and fatty meats. You denied them the sun because the sun causes them cancer, right? And now you give them vitamin D supplements and you give them calcium supplements. And then give them about a month, they will be back with constipation. You give them lactulose. And who is benefiting from the insurance? Who is eating their old age money? The hospitals. So yes, those are what I'm talking about. Another cause of constipation is you ignoring the urge to go to the toilet. As the urge comes, please go to the toilet and do your thing. Stop postponing. The gut is speaking to you. Listen. Another one, habits of the toilet. Now, it is fancy to sit on the crown. It is fancy sitting on a sit-on toilet. But as you sit on that toilet, there is a muscle that actually holds your rectum this way. So when you're sitting on that toilet, this muscle tightens this rectum. It pulls the rectum back. And now you cannot pass stool because the rectum is supposed to be this way so that you can actually pass stool directly. But this muscle that holds onto the rectum, when you sit on a sit-on toilet, it pulls it, and this is what is happening. And now you will have to push that stool with a lot of effort. And as you do that, you start weakening these muscles. You start affecting the nerves. And that is a problem because you will end up having a problem in even holding the stool in future. So when somebody is squatting with the knees facing up and their back, or rather leaning towards the knees, this is released and you have this normal functioning. You have this normal bowel movement and the stool just flows softly. That's why when you're in the village and you're in that pit latrine, you will never struggle passing stool. But come to the town and you are a princess, you are a king and you're sitting on a crown, you're busy having constipation. Because you're altering the normal flow and the normal biology of the rectum. So if you have a sit-on toilet, of which most of us have, simply find a small stool to raise your legs up. When you raise those legs up and your knees face up, you now have a normal flow of the bowel, a normal alignation of the rectum. So go and find that stool and lift your legs a little bit higher. Okay? You need it. Another habit is going to the toilet with a novel, with a set book, with a book, with a phone. Why are you there? You did not go there to study. You have a study room and a study table. Use it. And now, why did it become so important that now you have to study in the toilet? You are unable to even study on your table. You are going to the toilet with a phone or a book or a note because now you're enjoying this story. Please go to the loo and do what you have to do in the loo. Respect that room.